Hey y'all, I hope you've been doing well. I wish that I had more time. I really do. I wish that I had more time to just do my creative things that I want to do and spend a little time to do them with quality. Um, this channel, in some ways, is a nice little creative outlet because you try to do, you try to put it together with a little bit of creativity, whatever you can muster. But life is just too busy to really devote the time that I'd like to. I was just thinking how I'd like to just sit down with a laptop rather than my phone and like use real video editing software and actually put together something that, that I would enjoy seeing it all put together right, and captions and, showing, playing some clips, even though that's getting really difficult to do on YouTube. Playing any kind of clip is hard unless you're certain channels that get away with it for some reason. Some channels can. Mine can't do squat, just nothing. But I listen to a lot of different things as I drive because my commute to work is insane, and that's often a good spot, a good way for me to record something is just while I'm driving. But unfortunately, I'm leaning on my my memory of things that I just have been thinking about in the last week or two. Just random things that are coming to my mind, and sometimes I'll see things on a video and that'll trigger a memory. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about something in that video or a piece of it that reminds me of something I wanted to talk about, and I never put them together. I've got so many of these video ideas just for the sake of fun. This is my idea of having a little bit of fun. But life, gosh, it's so dang busy. It's so ridiculously busy. Ever since that rant about work and corporate America from a few videos ago, I've been wanting to put together an outline for a book or some kind of like to expand upon this because back in like 2008, back when my truther rabbit holes started, my friend Ed and I, we used to joke about corporate weasels, corporate America, what it's like to be a corporate weasel in corporate America. And corporate weasels speak in weaselese instead of legalese. They speak in weaselese and they have their own lingo. And we used to do stuff all the time just to mess with people that had a little bit of authority and they thought they were real important because they were a supervisor over the other slaves, and they would go around making up these stupid rules all the time. And so my friend Dan and I would do things just to mess with them. It's just because it was fun, and we would like post. We would post memos. Back then you could do it because there wasn't cameras on everything. We would post memos out like at the restrooms, like you were only allowed to use the restroom for 5 minutes at a time, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays you can only use them from these hours. And then we'd always sign it the management, and these people would craft these memos. These people that worked there would be so upset, and they would be going complaining to somebody in HR. This is illegal. You cannot say that. And then the management, these supervisors were getting so pissed and putting out emails like whoever's doing this needs to stop immediately. Oh my gosh, we were so close to getting fired all the time. And then we had a library. This was when I was teaching in a trade school, all adults, but we had a we had this library of computer, and somebody kept plunking viruses on that thing all the time, and they tried to lock the system down so hard that it was practically unusable. If you wanted to get on the internet and look up like a part, and in the world, every guy who does trades, we all joke about like the names of parts, like they're just so like they're practically pornographic. Like I'm looking up a ball cock or something like that. These are the names, and then there's the street name for a tool, and the street name just sounds bad. Like I need a pair of dikes and stuff like that. I mean, it's just funny. So anyway, you can't look up hardly anything on these computers because they put so many restrictions on them. Everything's blocked, and just to mess with the librarian. He used to get so upset, and he was one of those like minion Nazi guys that just goes around enforcing all the policies, and it was just fun to mess with him. So if he left his computer, we'd change his wallpaper to like pink flowers and little kittens and stuff like that. He usually always had like some motorcycle as his screensaver, and we'd change it to something funny. And so we figured out one day. I figured out, I was like, okay, this thing blocks inappropriate things. I wonder if I go to Google Translator and I change the search to some weird language, if it would still block. And sure enough, if I translated something bad in another language, it went right past all the filters and it pulled all that stuff up. So we would say, Gary, there's something wrong with your computers. Because we'd get them and say, hey, Gary, this computer, I can't even search a part. I just want to buy something off of Granger. He's like, that's because you guys always look up that sick stuff, and we can't have anything anymore. And then I'd type in something in the other language and say, hey, Gary, I thought you said this computer had a block on it. And, yeah, it does. And then he'd come over and look at it, and he'd freak the heck out because he'd see what the screen just pulled up. And I never told him. That the hack was to just put it in a Google Translator. So I said, you need to get this stuff fixed, Gary, because I'm offended. I'm very offended right now. I'm going to go talk to the HR lady. I think I need counseling after seeing this. I can't continue here. Oh my gosh. Those were the days when you could have fun, because corporate America was just so fun to pick on. And then the minion mentality is just so fun to pick on. So I need to develop that more. And I guess I'm talking about that because yesterday or 2 days ago, my boss sits right next to me normally. She's out for the rest of this week, which means I can be a little more chill. But she was on a Zoom call with this other person I know, and she was complaining to her about how these contracts we're supposed to be experts in the contracts. And she was complaining about how they're written in such a way that it's just really difficult to interpret. I mean, it just could mean anything. And I mean, we're just, we're just schmucks, basically. She's saying we don't know this stuff. And I blurted out, it's because it's all written in weaselese. And she kind of half heard me because, she's got one ear and a microphone and on and a speaker in her ear. So she said, well, what's that, Scott? I said, because and then I was like, crap, I shouldn't have said weaselese out loud. So I said, it's because the contracts are written in legalese. She apparently never heard of the term legalese. So, that's a good word. She says, Scott says because they're all written in legalese. So I dodged a bullet on that one, and she didn't hear me say weaselese, but maybe that needs to be the title of this book, is the life of a weasel, the life of a corporate weasel. One time I went into this long explanation to Ed. I was talking to Ed. He passed away many years ago, but we had a great time. I said, Ed, this is all hypothetical. And I said, the other day, one of these minions for the weasels overheard me talking about weaselese, and he got all offended at just the idea of me saying corporate weasel, because they worship these people. And I said, what are you offended at? It might have been Gary. What are you offended, Gary? Weasel is a incredible creature that's got the ability to sneak into places and go undetected and unharmed, and it's got it's a magnificent animal. Why would anybody be offended by being identified with a weasel? We just went on with all the attributes and great characteristics of a weasel and relating it to a corporate weasel. So somehow I am halfway. I've got 1 foot in the door with corporate weasel land because of my work. You got different titles. In the normal world, my title would be like area manager or district manager or something like that. But you've got your level 1, your base employee. And then sometimes you got a level 2 or a 1.5. Sometimes they take that same title and they put senior in front of it. So that's a half notch. But what we have is we got this level 1, and we got this level 2, and then we got this which the level 2 would be an assistant, and then level 3, which is the regular manager, and then I'm a level 4. And then because I have multiple, it's just different names for it. Then my level 5 would be the boss that I was talking about and the weaselese comment. Now she's just been promoted. I was not considered for her. Another I've got like 100 definitions roughly of weaselese terms like backfill and cadence and things like that. I was on a call yesterday and I was listening to an HR call, and it's just so full of crap. It's so full of indoctrination. And so the weaselese glossary is something I'm still working on. Cadence, things like that. All the terms that weasels use to make themselves sound more intelligent than when they, what they really are. But where was I going with this? The weaselese glossary and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm a level 4. She was a level 5, but now she's a level 6. They're not considering me for a level 5, probably because I'm too jaded. Whatever. It's probably best that I don't slip into a level 5, because that's just getting way too close to becoming one of those weasels. Then I'd have to really spend a lot of time. Like, her position is on Zoom calls all day long. I don't want that. I don't want to be sitting on Zoom calls talking weaselese all day long. I mean, I'm versed in weaselese. I understand it. I just don't want to talk that all day long. I think I'd have to jump off the top of this building if I did that too much. It's really too overpowering. So this is a good spot for me to be in, just sitting in this level 4 position. The reason my boss was promoted so readily is because she, I talk about scope creep. Scope creeps when, you start taking, you contractually, you just start taking on all this crap that's not your job, but you want to kiss the butt of the client so bad you'll do anything. So whatever the client asks you, and the client doesn't even know what's in the weaselese written contract. They know, maybe some of it. They always seem to know the stuff that benefits them, but they don't know, that they're asked. They pretend that they don't know sometimes, that they're asking you to do things that are not part of your agreement. So they find this new person who comes on board who's starving for promotion and starving to get ahead, and wants to just wants recognition so bad, because they're kind of a husk of a person with no inner self, and they desperately need attention. They desperately need their butt kissed by their minions all the time. They desperately, because there's no sense of self there. There's like nothing. They live. These are the kind, that you're dealing with a person that's just a shell of a person, because there is no life for them outside of work. They're the ones who have their emails on their phone, and they check them all the time, 24/7, weekends, evenings, it doesn't matter. And they expect their minions, their level 4 employees like me, they expect them to do the same. Of course, we don't, and we're not considered for the backfill. Backfill's a Weasley's word, and we're not considered for the backfill position when the level 5 goes to level 6. But she's going to level 6 because she embraced the scope creep. She embraced doing anything that the client wanted, even if it was outside of the terms. And she, eventually just passed the extra burden on to her minions, which would be me mostly, because I'm the first line of passing crap to. So my work in the last year has gotten 10 times busier, and it's not busy. It's not busy from important busyness. It's all BS, like paper shuffling, mindless, stupid, getting paid a lot of money to do a lot of nothing. That's what it's been. And she's inserted herself into every other department, micromanages the heck. I mean, I walk around here always like on eggshells, because like, am I doing the right thing, or is she going to get upset about that? I mean, she has a different way of looking at it. And one of the tricks to surviving is you have to become this plastic NPC, and like the corporate weasel will talk to you in a way, and they'll say, don't you agree that ... and whatever that agreement is, it's some sort of a indoctrination speech. It's part it's a test to see if you're part of the cult. And sometimes I fail this test because it's so batshit crazy. It's hard for me to just get my eyes glossed over and start repeating the mantra. It's really tough. I mean, it takes practice. So she'll say something like, "Don't you agree that dot dot dot?" And I'm thinking, "No, that's absolutely nuts. You are crazy. You are psycho to even think that way." I'm thinking that, but at the same time, I have to put on this stupid smile and say, "Yeah, you're so right." you know. And I try, but some people are much better at it than me. I mean, some people, like a lap dog, just take it like eagerly. I was listening to, so my level six, my now level six boss was saying, "Don't you agree to this new technology that's just going to be so wonderful?" And I'm thinking, this is equivalent to shoving a camera right up my butt and interpreting every thought and every action that I do every minute of the day. So that's what the equivalent was to me. Is this like ultimate Big Brother, nonstop, control us like mindless robots? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And I'm thinking, there's so many ways, there's so many bugs in their technology. Their technology, they talk about how great it is, but it always is such a cluster. It never works the way they want. And the people who are coming up with ideas on how it should work, they're so disconnected from the daily work. They don't even know what they should be doing. They're trying to think of things that would please the client. That would be a selling point. And it's such not. I wish I could go into greater detail, but it's just such idiocracy. It's pure idiocracy. So I'm not I'm not like scooping up what she's saying with the enthusiasm that she wishes I would. But the minion that sits across from me, he's like gobbling it up. So those two start conversing, and you can just see the energy going between them, where they're feeding off each other. It's like they're just getting excited about this corporate weasel initiative that's going to make our lives even far worse and much more controlled. And they're getting all excited about the concept. I don't. The brainwashing is thick. I don't. This is funny because I wasn't even planning to do this video. This wasn't going to be a video about how psycho corporate America is, but it's just become that accidentally. Honestly, I had a completely different thing planned about about insanity and lunatics. I guess I am still in that line of thought of how insane this reality is and what our definition of being insane and delusional and crazy really is, because it's so opposite of everything. I look at this world around me and I look at the way corporate America functions, and it's completely idiocracy, it's lunacy, it's insane to its fullest, it's insanity. And yet this is what the world considers to be normal. This is normal behavior. Packing all of us into this stupid glass fishbowl of a building and stuffing us in here. Oh, and by the way, we've got a pier. Meaning there's some guy, they just shuffled. The corporate weasels love to shuffle people around. So you sit in one area for 6 months, and then they decide everybody needs to pack up and go find another desk. And you can't personalize anything anymore. It used to be they'd give you a cubicle, and you'd have a little bit of privacy, and you could like put pictures up and decorate it, and you could even maybe get a little cactus plant or something like that. Now you can't do nothing. You're supposed to like strip this thing clean at the end of the day so that anybody can come behind you and use your workstation. This is that 2030 you will own nothing crap. Well, this is what they're doing in the workplace. You don't own your desk anymore. You just come in here. You're supposed to grab a Sandy, a little wet wipe that you use on your baby's bottom. You're supposed to use that and sanitize your little workstation and then go work on it for the day. And then tomorrow you could work in a different workstation. But they still assign you a little rectangle of a cat. They carve out a little spot for you in the building, and this is where they say you're going to sit for 6 months, and then they decide they're going to up and move you to another thing at whatever, just to jerk with your chain, just to jerk around the people. That's why they do it. I can't see any other reason except they just want to mess with people's heads, break them down psychologically. Never let them feel like there's any consistency in their life whatsoever. Don't give them the chance to personalize their desk in any way or make it feel like home. No, you've got to disrupt that. Get them in the mindset that they don't own anything and they're going to love it. They're going to be smiling like a bunch of idiots that this is great. So that's part of what we do. Anyway, what I was saying is I was going to do this video about the way the world defines insanity and how I almost think like not so much insanity, but those are the ones with some insight and are a little gifted, and the rest of the world is batshit crazy. But I've turned this into another work rant, and I apologize for that. I did not plan on that. As you can tell, there's no pictures or anything to go with this because I just don't have time to do that. But the new level 5 who's going to be over me should be coming in within the next month or so. So we've got my level 5 moving to level 6. Her level 7 says, so this little area that we all sit in, which is about, how many desks is this? It's about 10 desks that we sit in this little corner of the building. The level 7 sits here. The level 6 sits right next to me. And they're going to backfill. That's a corporate weasel term for meaning they're going to replace her or hire another weasel to be a level 5, which I'm not being considered for, which is a blessing, really. So the level 5 is going to come in and be my direct boss. So I will have less time talking to the level 6 now because she will be too far. You know, there's that little cushion between us, so she doesn't have to be, bothered by the minion class or the lower level class that I am. And the new level 5 will have to deal with all my bullshit. The new level 5 I heard, which is funny because so you got the level 6, you got the level 7, and then we just had a level 8 come in, and the level 8 is now more on the client side, so everybody's reporting to this level 8. And he's actually a pretty cool guy. I like the level 8. I mean, everybody said after they hired him, is like, how long is this guy going to last? He's way too nice to be a level 8. I mean, he's like it's all a trick. Don't trust him. He's just trying to sucker us in so we'll say the wrong thing. So all these weasels, the one thing about the survival of a weasel is they understand what's really going on, but they don't admit it much. But then they kind of they reveal their cards a little bit when they say to each other, "Oh, that weasel's way too nice to be in that level position. He's never going to last." So the weasel, and the weasel 8's the one that said that. Wait a minute, where am I? No, she's weasel 7. The new guy is weasel 8. He's level 8. So, and she just replaced, like in the last 6 months or whatever. No, yeah, maybe not even that much. Maybe 4 months. She just replaced. So she's weasel level 8. She's weasel level 7. She just replaced another weasel 7 who was fired by the client, and he always that weasel 7 just always came off as real polished, like a politician, always saying good things about the client. And then he was at a party. He was at a company party because he was fired from this account, went to a different account. So my weasel 6, level 6, told me that they were at this party and there was some alcohol flowing, and he said a whole bunch of crap against the client, which he would have never said that stuff, back in his role because he was too smart for that. But he just, a little bit of liquor in him, he let everybody know how psycho this client was. So we got the new weasel level 8, which I like him. I mean, I can shoot the shit with him, and I'm probably going to get fired for doing it, but I like the guy. He sits actually just across and to the left from me. And once you get, understand this too, once you get to weasel level 5 or 6, all of those levels only come to work, for part of the time. They only come in for like from 8 until, or they roll in like from 10 till 2 or 8 until noon or 1. They come in, and that's only like 3 days a week. I don't know who writes their schedule, but they just kind of got their own thing going on. Now my boss, my direct report, I report to her. She was a weasel 5, now she's a weasel 6. She was different. She gets here about 8:20 because she always, like every day, she blames traffic. She's supposed to be here at 8, but she blames traffic. So every day, her time's becoming 8:20 to 8:30, which I don't care. Make up whatever you want. You can get here whenever you want. I mean, you could just get up earlier and leave earlier, but that never dawns on them. So I get here at 5 because I'm stupid. I just started doing it, and I didn't realize that was going to become part of my job description to get here at 5 every day. So I get here at 5. Obviously, I don't always work because sometimes I do this. Today's one of those lighter days, but I get here at 5, and I don't leave until like 4:30. Usually it's 4:30 or 5, but psycho. And that's another reason never to promote me, because nobody else is going to do that. No, they're not going to find another Weasel level 4 that works 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's just not going to happen. So you can't. Now, the client demands that we be on site, even though the whole world has gotten really into work from home, the WFFH. They just love the heck out of work from home. So it's hard to find any dumb mofos that are willing to come in 5 days a week and work 12 hours each day. That's a rare thing. So part of the reason that I don't get promoted might be that I've become too essential. That was the thing that killed me during COVID. I became this essential. I love that. I love how they flatter you on one side and then F you. They bend you over on the other side. So I ended up having to work every day when nobody else was coming in. Could never take any PTO. And then when I did want to take PTO, when people started returning to the workforce, they came out with a policy that we could only take 5 days max at a time. Even though I had oh my gosh, that's a whole nother story, where just the passive aggressive stuff that went on there. But anyway, I've probably locked myself into this level 4 position as essential, which is fine, because you know what, at the end of the day, I don't want to be on Zoom calls all day. I don't want to be putting on my corporate weasel face all day long. It's too much to bear. It's really way too much to bear. So this is good. This level 4 position, they need me. That's good. I mean, I have to eat a shit sandwich probably once or twice a week. And, you eat it, you wipe your mouth clean, and you keep moving forward. That's my role. So anyway, back to the weasel levels. The new weasel level 8 is actually a pretty decent guy, where the one before him, he was a nightmare. I hated that little that guy. I hated seeing him coming. He always had this big old fake smile, like bipolar level smile. He'd be in a great attitude. He was one of these guys that when he talks on Zoom call or on the phone, he's got to make sure everybody in the whole damn office can hear his voice, because it just would boom super loud, and doesn't matter if he absolutely could care less if he was interrupting you or annoying you in any way, because he was so full. I mean, his ego was so huge it could barely be contained in this building. So that level 8 finally got some other offer and left for another company. Thank God, because I could barely take being around him. And the new level 8 guy, I kind of actually like. Now, he reports to a narcissist, and you have to be, honestly, you have to be a bit of a narcissist to move up. You have to lapdog your way up and then step on all the minions below you. So the new level 8, he reports to somebody that's out of state. She's a level 9. Now, I had to interact with her a lot at first, because I was like the highest level weasel on site for a good 6 months. And then they started bringing in the upper level weasels. And so once that happened, all of a sudden, it's this unwritten rule that the highest weasel has to talk to the next highest weasel. So as soon as the one above me came in, this weasel 9 just was like done with me, which was fine, because I hated the idiocracy, the nonsensical things that would come out of her mouth. And you cannot say you're an idiot. You cannot say you can barely broach the topic of disagreements in any way. Whatever she says, you just do it, no matter how stupid it sounds. So thank God I have not had to have any conversations with her in forever. But true narcissist, if you look up narcissist definition in the dictionary, you've got her face. She is like the epitome of narcissism. So anyway, he's going to be reporting to her, and I don't know if she's going to rub off on him, but that's happening. And then her boss, the Weasel 10, this is the top dog that I interface with at all. He comes around once every 6 months. He flies in, does a little tour. He doesn't even know my name, but he's come in like a couple times, and I've shook his hand and said, "Hi, my name's Weasel. My name's so-and-so. I'm Scott. I'm Weasel level 4 here, and pleasure to meet you." I heard him talking to Weasel level 7 one day, and he was just saying that he was having a hard time finding this Weasel 8 level position. It was just really hard to find somebody to replace the dick that used to be in that spot. And he said that the quality that he was trying to find, but it's so difficult to find, is someone who knows how to talk to high-level people. And I'm saying high-level in quotes right now. High-level is all these people in this building. It's the finance world. They all make like $10 million a year. I mean, you know anybody that's got the partner title, they're making like, they're banking at the $10 million a year probably. So these, in quotes, high-level people, he's trying to find somebody that knows how to speak high-level weaselese, but still knows how to kick ass. He knows how to crack a whip on us Weasel 4s and basically anybody less than a Weasel 10. You know, anybody that is under him. He's looking for somebody that knows how to really talk shit, that knows how to be a badass and just make your life hell. And that last Weasel level 7 was great at making my life hell. He'd come out with the most ridiculous things, and he'd always try and do it verbally. He never wanted to put his name on it. He never wanted to put it in email. You know, and sometimes you realize, like, this is going to get very bad for me if I follow this Weasel 7. No, sorry, Weasel 8. If I follow this Weasel 8 instructions, this could potentially backfire in my face. So please send me an email. And you save that damn email. You say you print it off, you frame it, you do whatever you have to, because 6 months from now, when the shit hits the fan, you want to show Weasel level 8, even though he's no longer here anymore. That damn Weasel level 8's the one who did it. Is it 8? Yeah, 8. So anyway, the new Weasel 8's almost too nice, and it makes you wonder how long he can be that nice, or if he's going to last. Weasel 10, the creme de la creme of Weasel. He's looking for someone who can be brutally, just maliciously yucky, like hugely evil, and yet knows how to kiss butt of the, in quotes, high level. Oh yeah, and I briefly mentioned we got a pisser. So when they shuffle people around in these offices, and we got a lot of, I'm not, okay, it's going to sound racist or whatever. We have a lot of foreigners because they hire a ton. I mean, we've got like 4,000 people bouncing around this place, and they hire a lot of foreigners, and maybe foreigners don't mind pissing on the floor, but we got one that moved up to our floor, and I swear to God, it's like there's a urinal on the wall, and this person thinks it's a suggestion. Because I'll go in there, and the floor is covered with pee 4 feet out. And I'm always calling janitorial. Look, our pisser's back. Can you please come up and make this usable again? I mean, just shuts down the restroom. And it's daily. It's infuriating. So I came across let me see if I can find it. I came across this restaurant. All right, I think I've already talked about this. I think I've already showed you this, but I was at this restaurant, and they actually put this thing in the floor, just for these guys who love to piss all over the floor. Of course, for my work, they need to like double it needs to double that size, or it needs to shoot out at least 4 feet, because this guy doesn't care. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would do any good still, but there's an idea for you that every bathroom with urinals should have this in this world. This is my life. These are what the high level people have to deal with too, because one of these, it's probably, let's face it, it's probably intentional. This is the more disgusting version or equivalent of like me and Ed going around posting these signs that say the management, just to piss off the management. This is some disgruntled employee who's like, I'm gonna literally piss off the management by just pissing all over the floor. That's what it is. But it's a little too disgusting for me. I can't. I mean, might be brilliant to some. I can't go. I can post signs that piss them off, but I just can't piss all over the floor. That's just way too much. All right, I don't know what happened to my picture before, so I'll just grab this one here, just for no reason. But so I've covered the Weaselese dialect, the rank of weasel that I currently sit at, plus the highest level of weasel, which I've conversed with, which is a weasel level 10. Now, the high level people I'll converse with too, because they just actually need some shit done. And so I do get to converse with the $10 million a year people too. I'm just guessing. I mean, I know that their income is insane. They're driving the Maseratis or the cars I've never even heard of. Something, I mean, you only see it on Grand Theft Auto or some other video game. But they're the guys who drive that stuff. You see them on TV occasionally too, but these are the fun people that I get to work around. So I'm like I guess I'm a spy in a way to corporate weasel land, which I think is sheer insanity. This world is more insane and more ludicrous. It has more connection to the movie Idiocracy than anything. And yet, what I wanted to talk about in this video, and I haven't even gotten to it, I'm going to have to wrap this up. So I wanted to talk about this guy, and I guess I'll save this for another video. And the reason I was thinking, I guess something just crossed my mind the other day, and I listened to this one actually quite a while ago. And this is a guy with schizophrenia, and for whatever reason he was having an episode. He didn't really go into details. Maybe his meds were run short, or maybe he just wanted to document what it was like to have an episode. And the reason I was thinking about this, I was thinking about how crazy the world is, and yet I'm the one who's crazy because I've seen things that other people don't see. Like, it'll be standing in front of me and I'll see it, and you're not supposed to see it. Or I'll see a glitch in reality that never happened. This timeline says it never happened, yet I know I was having a conversation about this with somebody else. I mean, when I really was documenting this stuff strong, it was happening so often. It would be like 1 week would go by and I'd be having a conversation, and then the next week it never happened. And the whole timeline changed, like the thing didn't exist. It was really strong. So anyway, in this video, I had planned to talk about this at one point. And one of the things that I went back to it for is I wanted to capture him talking, like towards the end of his video. He was actually seeing this like evil-looking creature, demonic, whatever you want to say, this creature, this thing outside his window, because the schizophrenia was coming on strong, and he was having an episode. So he's seeing things that psychologists would say are not there. His mind is creating it. And when he saw the thing outside his window, he was like, "Oh, it's time to wrap this up." He'd need to do whatever he needed to do to calm down. But so I was thinking, is it schizophrenia? Is he crazy that he's making it all in his mind, or is his mind actually seeing into the other side? Is his mind glimpsing past the veil? Because that's what it felt like. I didn't feel crazy at all when I was seeing stuff that I shouldn't have been seeing. And there was a few cases where there's a few times where people around me saw a piece of what I was seeing. Like they didn't see the full intensity of it, but they would see part of it. And I almost relate it to, like, there's a Harry Potter movie where they're having like this wizard war, and the Muggles don't see anything, but there's this huge battle going on, and what the Muggles might see is it would translate into their world as some natural event. Like, instead of a wizard shooting a wand and exploding a building or making something go crazy, they would see a weather event or something, something that they could accept as normal. Like, what was really happening behind the scenes was completely different, but when it was so strong, it would filter through into their world. The computer simulation had to reframe it in something that they could accept and believe. And I've thought about that, like how fake this reality is, and how some of the shit that we see is just it's whitewashed version of what's really happening behind the scenes. And what we're seeing is like just a small piece of what's really going on back there. And some of these people are listed as crazy, but they might actually be gifted. Now, the stuff this kid's seeing is purely demonic. I mean, these things are speaking to him. Oh, that's the other thing. So that window thing where he sees that thing outside the window, that actually never happens in this video. So I don't know, timeline shift, whatever. This video does not end in that way. He doesn't actually see the thing outside his window, but he does hear the voices, and they're very demonic, and they're telling him to off himself. That's the way it always is. These things that are speaking. I mean, it doesn't matter who the schizophrenic person is. They're always telling you evil. They're always evil. They're telling you evil crap. They're always telling you to hurt others, hurt yourself. My My wife experienced these when she had her NDE and OBE. These creatures were surrounding her, and they were just taking great delight in hurting her. She could understand them. She could telepathically read them. They were not aware that she was aware, and she really wasn't paying too close of attention. She didn't care about them. She was more concerned about getting close to God and having a conversation with God. That was really all that mattered to her. So once she had the OBE, shot out past them, she had the conversation with God. But see, this is the kind of stuff that the world says is crazy. But corporate America, they do not consider crazy. This is completely upside down. It's a mirror. It's an upside down world. It's messed up. I wanted to do a whole thing about this, and I wanted to talk about this kid, but time's not permitting this morning. We're gonna have to end this here. We'll get into this, some of the batshit crazy things that I've seen and experienced, um, and other videos like this, and talk about the possibility that maybe all that stuff is what's really going on, and everything we see here, this illusion is the real insanity. But all right, I'm going to end it there. Y'all have a great day, great week, and sorry that my videos can't be better polished, better edited, more creatively controlled. Anyway, God bless.